Hi, I'm Caren Baginski, and today's restorative yoga practice is for stress relief. And part of that means not stressing out about the props that you do or do not have in order to practice. I'm going to share with you 4 restorative yoga poses for stress relief that you can do with minimal props. This whole practice only takes 20 minutes, and dare I say it, it's better than sitting on your couch and binge watching Netflix after a stressful day. This practice will leave you feeling relaxed and rejuvenated. Here's what you'll need. Gather up a yoga bolster or a cushion and 2 blankets. Willow and I will meet you back on your mat. Let's begin in legs up the wall. So you will need an open wall space for you to put your legs up against. Remove your bolster or your cushion and simply set that to the side for now. Find your 2 blankets, and the first blanket will be for underneath your sacrum, your low back area, underneath your hips. You'll open that out and put that up close against the wall space, just as an added cushion. Then, second blanket will be for your head. I recommend a lower fold, but you may want to experiment because you'll want your chin to be lower than your forehead to promote that deep relaxation response in the body. So what I like to do is have my blanket come out from the wall in a line with the other blanket, and then I'll fold the back end over a little bit more so that the back of my head will be a little bit higher and more supported than the blanket underneath the tops of the shoulders. In order to come into this, you'll simply come up against the wall with your back and sit pretty close to the wall so that when you swing your legs up, you have a greater chance of being close to the wall when you land. However, if you experience any tension in your hamstrings, then you'll want to be closer, or rather farther away from the wall with your hips. And you can always take the bolster behind your legs, in between your legs and the wall as a buffer. So I'll show you that as well. Reach the arm that's closest inward toward the blankets, straight forward, and then tuck and roll. Swing your legs up the wall. Once you start to arrive, you can readjust as necessary. So finding either your legs very close to the wall, or again, if there's tension in the hamstrings, walking yourself back. And here's where you can use your cushion. You'll take that behind the legs, maybe upright like this, as some extra support. So that's an option for you if your legs don't quite make it yet all the way close to the wall. Once you've found that just right space for you today, bring the blanket underneath your head closer to you so that it touches the bottom tips of your shoulder blades as well as the back of the skull. And you can sense and feel the chin a little bit lower than the forehead. Next, arrange your arms in a V by your sides with your palms face up, and completely relax into your legs. Make any final adjustments here. For example, if you need a bit more cushion underneath your pelvis or underneath your head. And finally, when you're settled in, if it's comfortable, close your eyes. We'll drop into this position with the breath. So begin to just notice your breath moving in and out through the nostrils. And now participate in your breath with about 10% more effort so that you can have a sense of breathing in more deeply and breathing out smoothly. Bring a 4-4 count to the breath. counting into 4 on your next inhale, and counting out to 4 on your exhale. Now lengthen your exhale to a count of 6 or even 8. Inhale for 4. Exhale to 6 or 8. Feel your abdomen and your chest completely relax with your exhale. Allowing the breath to become even smoother and softer, like waves washing through your torso. Now relax after your next exhalation and release all effort in your breath. Allow the breath to become natural again. Trace any sensation that you might feel all the way into the soles of the feet and out to the fingertips. Becoming more aware of the body's response to stillness. To transition out of legs up the wall, begin to wiggle your toes. Gradually allow there to be more movement in your ankles, in your hands. Slowly bend your knees and walk your feet down the wall until you get closer with your knees toward your chest, and just rest for a moment here. You might like to hug around the knees and take the feet off the wall. The knees could be apart or together. Stay present to any sensation you might feel in the legs. Is there a tingling, a brightness, a lightness? On your next exhalation, simply drop your knees to one side, whichever is easiest for you to come out. Reach that arm overhead and rest for a moment on the floor. Then inhale and use your hands gently to press yourself upright, going slow, letting those transitions be just as juicy as the posture. And once you find your way back to your mat, let's take the blankets to the side for now and extend the legs long in front of you, coming down to have a seat. With your hands behind you, create some space in between your heels and then just let the legs wash back and forth like little mini windshield wipers until they feel fully present and alive again. The next position that we'll move into is a supported seated forward bend. So grab one of your blankets and on a decent thick fold, you'll place that underneath the back of your hips, underneath the back tips of the pelvis so that you feel like you're spilling forward and there's a sense of already bending forward because of that slight elevation. You can make that higher if that's necessary for you so that that curve in your low back is not pushed all the way back and down, but rather lengthening up and forward. Then find your second blanket and let's roll it up on the long end into just a little mini roll and place that underneath the knees. This offers just a little extra padding so that we don't lock the knees out when we bend forward. You can adjust that to whatever height feels most comfortable for you as well. Maybe if the hamstrings feel a little tight here, you can roll it even more. And then finally, grab your cushion and place that on top of your legs. The final posture is bending forward and resting your head. So if this isn't effortless for you and you need a little bit more height, then yeah, go ahead and grab some other blankets or other things you might have in your house to build that height up to you. If you like the feeling of the bolster against your belly, you can rock down from this space. If you want to find a little bit more length in your low back, then you can lower and have the bolster farther away. Whatever you do, let your arms be nice and soft and rooted. You might snug them underneath the bolster, underneath your legs, or just rest them by your sides. And then finally, forehead touches down. Make any other adjustments once you come into the final position for our hold because you want to make sure that you are completely comfortable. So if this feels like a huge stretch, the body is not likely to fall into its deepest relaxation state because it's still feeling something happening to it. So build yourself up however you need and then find your final position and rest. We'll stay here for some time together. Feel the weight of the day, the burdens, the obligations, the tasks, anything that you need to manage, control, or do. Feel all of that emptying with your exhale, emptying out of the body, sending it into Mother Earth. with effortlessness in every part of your body. Begin the slow process of transitioning out of this pose. Use your hands to make contact with the floor. And an inhale to lift up through the back of your heart until your head rises above your hips. Take a moment to breathe in here, integrating all these sensations back into the body, breathing out, softening the shoulders. Then remove whatever you have on top of your legs, set that to the side, and take out the blanket from underneath your knees and allow that to go to the side as well. Scoot forward a bit off of the blanket you were seated on, and we'll transition this blanket into the blanket for our head as we come into supported bridge pose. So again, I like to fold my blanket long, and then just the back edge I tuck forward a bit. So the back of the head is here, the tops of the shoulders are on the lower fold of the blanket. And grab your cushion and place that just in front of your hips, widthwise across your mat. Then sit on that cushion. And it's from this space that we will lower down to the floor. So as you lower, readjust the blanket underneath your head as you need. Readjust the bolster underneath the hips so that you feel really rooted across the low back, the hip space. You might even, if you notice any low back pain here, you might pull that bolster up a little bit closer to you so that the glutes hang off of the edge of the bolster. And then rearrange the feet so that it feels pretty effortless for the legs to be held up here. They're neither moving out nor in. They're just rooted straight down through the soles of the feet with minimal effort. Arms reach to a V by your sides, palms face up. Explore that sensation of the chin being lower than the forehead here. So if you need to readjust through the blanket at all, do that now. This is a gentle back bend, an opening across the chest. You might feel a sense of energy or invigoration as we hold this position, closing the eyes if that's comfortable. So welcome in the opposite feeling of the forward bend. The forward bend being more calming now than this position. But there's still a sense of calm here. Very different from the stressful, frantic energy that we often feel around us and within us. Notice how you can still be energetic at a slower pace. Let your bones get heavier. So if there's any gripping happening in your thighs or your hip creases, release that now. Release any tension in your jaw. You could open and close a few times until you're completely relaxed through your whole body. Feel yourself supported and held by the earth. Rest here in silence for some time. Natural, easy breath. Spend one more breath here as a means of transitioning, marking that transition between the stillness and the movement. Feeling now, just this moment, in between action and doing nothing. Gently bring your knees closer toward your chest, lifting your feet. You might choose to hug them in here or just place your hands to the tops of your knees. And we'll move the knees in slight circles, tracing a little circle one way for 3 times, and then the other way. Feel the shoulder blades get heavier against the ground as the knees come toward you. Your low back lengthens. And now simply plant the feet back down to the floor. Push into the feet gently, lift up so that you can slide your cushion downward toward those feet and set your hips back down to the floor. Then keep going with that cushion because we're transitioning into basic relaxation pose or shavasana. So the cushion arrives underneath your knees. You still have the blanket here for your head. The arms will come back, face up, arms at a V. And if you'd like to keep warm, you can use your second blanket, place that over your whole body now. Or for some extra grounding, place the other blanket on top of your abdomen. Feel the gentle heaviness of this blanket. Encourage your body to completely relax. Feeling your whole body on the floor. Close your eyes once more. Let's take a deep breath in. Fill it up without any strain. And a deep breath out, either through the mouth or the nostrils, feeling a sense of complete letting go. Then release all effort in the breath. And let go even more. Be held by the earth. And experience yourself in deep relaxation and peace. Knowing that there's nothing you need to do to achieve this. Rest in silence. I'll bring you out when it's time. Call yourself back from rest by listening to any sounds that you hear in the room. And any sounds you hear beyond this room. From there, invite the sensation of movement into your fingers, your palms, your wrists, then elbows, shoulders, and stretch your arms overhead. As you get long through your fingers, extend long through your legs, curling your toes, then flexing your feet. Take a few generous breaths into the belly, truly stretching and awakening. And then relax and let all that effort go in the limbs. Bend your knees in and roll onto a side, removing any props on top of you or letting them come with you. Resting on your side for a moment, survey your whole body in your inner awareness. See what's changed since you began. Then press up gently and rise to a seat. Go nice and slow to keep that sense of relaxation here with you. And if you need to sit up on something like a bolster, feel free to do that. Make your way with your hands together at the center of your chest and dip your chin downward, perhaps eyes still closed or gazing at the fingertips. Thank you for your presence. I honor your light. Namaste. As you finish up this practice, tag me on Instagram at Caren Baginski so I can see your practice space and what props you chose to use. If you enjoyed these restorative yoga poses for stress relief, it means a lot if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more yoga practices with me, and I'll see you in the next one.